Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about dry fasts and prevention. The importance of repeating dry fasts, that's the subject of the day. Before that, for people who are in the dry fasting training, we have a crucial video that has just arrived on the debates that have taken place in the United States on dry fasting and thyroid hormones. I have my thoughts on this. I also have another. And that brought us to 2026, to a new marker where we can finally explain how the healing crises, the elimination crises. We have a simple marker, so if you're interested, it's in Module 8. Who want to check out this new safety marker that we have, which will be integrated from 2026, because I think we may be the only fasting center to offer this. It's a great marker that you can make at home. I hadn't necessarily thought of it in the past. But now, as there have been these debates about thyroid taking hormones, it was pretty obvious to me that it was something that stood out. So we're bringing in this new marker, which will now explain to us how we can measure acidosis crises, how they occur, healing crises, elimination crises, how they happen. We have a simple way to see them coming, even if we don't feel them. For example, I've had the crises I have in the dry fast. We don't see them coming, but now we have a way possible to measure them. It is mainly a means that adds extra security to dry fasting. Now we have 7 markers. During dry fasting, what is truly hyper at this moment, safe. Unlike other fasting centers that don't monitor fasts, we have developed a whole expertise in safety during dry fasting, and we are the only ones doing it. It's not today's topic, but if you're interested, it's in my training course. I go into all that in detail. It's a 20-minute video. I give you all the keys, all the tips for those who have the training that we do at home. And of course, who will be taking part in the cures starting in April in Spain. You'll have all this information. There's no need to worry. Today, we're going to talk about prevention. We're currently living in a period of everything is moving fast, everything is accelerating, we're in demand everywhere. We live in a world with toxins, waste, physical and psychological stress, emotions of all kinds that all fall on us. Unfortunately, our energy bodies are brittle. We don't necessarily work in the morning. We can protect ourselves from outside influences. It requires a routine, a practice. We're living in a world that's going faster and faster with too much stimulation, too many illnesses, too many things, too many toxins, too much stress. Too many things, too many toxins, too many heavy metals, too many stimulants, too many pollutants, and so on. And then there's the real medicine, the first of all medicines. It's the oldest, the wisest. It's the prevention of all that. So it's not as if 50% of the people who come to us for cures have pathologies. I would even say more than 50%, so it shouldn't be normal to come and do dry fasting. But we see these people coming, and the therapeutic dry fasting that we offer allows a reset, a reprogramming to start afresh. But it shouldn't come to that. If we had a sufficiently healthy lifestyle, proper nutrition, good management of our emotions, diet, movement, a good night's sleep, and so on. If we had a healthy lifestyle, we wouldn't necessarily need to fast. To fast, although an annual dry fast is for me an answer. How do you service a car? logical, natural, simple, to empty the bins. Why does the body need a break every year? As I said, air pollutants are quantities that have been estimated at 5 to 6 kilos of waste, toxins, via food, via polluted water, pesticides that enter via water, drug residues, heavy metals, mercury. All of this will be found mainly in fatty tissue, but also intracellularly, inside the cell, outside the cell too, in everything that is lava, soft tissue, organs, everything extracellular. Blood is part of this, it's waste, toxins, food additives, endocrine disruptors. We have an incalculable number of waste products and toxins which enter the body, are not eliminated, and which accumulate slowly, insidiously in our metabolism, and which create what we call dams, iatrogenic storage. Iatrogenic storage, what we call encrusted waste. Encrusted waste. This is what we call encrusted waste, which becomes embedded everywhere, even in soft tissue, in the heart. Bacteria, viruses, parasites that enter from everywhere. And dry fasting has the answer to all this. You should know that today in general medicine, 90% of all health problems, even emergencies. I recently have a little issue. I'm in the man's zone, the prostate. Men over 50, all of this was addressed with 4 days of dry fasting instead of going to the emergency room for painkillers. It was quickly sorted out. Over the years, this waste accumulates in the cells, in the membranes, in the organs, slowing down our metabolism. The result is pathologies, little disorders, little things that happen, premature aging, oxidative stress. Immunity starts to fall. There's low inflammation. We have tests. Now we do many tests. But if you go for a checkup with a conventional doctor, it doesn't show you much. They may analyze your B12, your iron, the fasting insulin level, LDL and HDL cholesterol. This classical stuff means little. You need a functional doctor. For yourself, you can ask. If I have people coming to my practice, I tell them, here's what to do. You go to a laboratory, do this, that. There you go. For example, for the digestive system, you can see if you have a leaky gut. You can see if you have permeability of the intestine. You can see if you have insulin resistance. The HbA1c, known as glycated hemoglobin, and homocysteine, a significant cardiovascular marker, but that doctors don't do it. All the checkups that are interesting to have. Conventional doctors aren't trained to do this. They studied 30 years ago and it hasn't changed. We need smart assessments. And to really see where you stand, even on oxidative stress, you have very precise assessments. You have to take an interest in these assessments. You have to know them. You need to be interested in these assessments. You need to know what they are. You need updates. Doctors don't update much. They're still a bit focused on the old ways. That's how it is. So dry fasting acts on a great cleansing, intracellular, extracellular, physiological, metabolic, global. So it's a purification of waste, interstitial fluids that are lodged in the deep tissues, the humoral tissues. So it will release the waste in the fat, which is why you have, while on dry fasting, some people test urine in a glass and you can see a lot of sediments in a glass of water. In contrast, during water fasting, there are no sediments at all. It's only with dry fasting that you really manage to wring out the lymphatic system out. So you really have a toxic elimination of metals and toxins to a certain extent. Of metals and toxins at around power 3 to 5 compared to water fasting, we create a much greater drain. So when the body has no more external supply, it turns to its own reserves. which are fatty acids. So you create ketone bodies together with BHB, acetone, and similar compounds. Acetone, etc. So you're going to make metabolic water with this degradation. Metabolic water with this fat breakdown, and then you will accelerate the process of dry fasting, which is autophagy, i.e. the recycling of diseased tissue. I'll repeat all this. I've talked about it at length. It's in my books. It's well known. Autophagy is the cell's ability to clean itself, to recycle, to digest waste, misfolded products, bacterial debris. Autophagy will recycle, will make new material. People should try autophagy a few days a year, along with water fasting. It's definitely a good idea. It's less effective than dry fasting, but it's still worth taking a break from food at least once a year. All the diseased cells are recycled and new material is produced using autophagy. I remind you that this is a Nobel Prize in medicine, autophagy, so it's not something we invented. All religions have talked about fasting over 5,000 years ago, so the detractors of fasting, take a look at what our ancestors did. Look at vaccines, which are 100 years old. Did they have vaccines a million years ago? We've survived for over 1 million, 2 million, 10 million years. I've never had any vaccines, as if by chance in the last 100 years we've had to invent new things, vaccines. We're seeing a huge number of health problems linked to vaccines, especially the latest one. There's a big scandal, but that's not the point. The point is that we mustn't bring in pollutants, create toxemia and hydrogen. There are already plenty of pollutants in our meals and surroundings, and we are making the situation worse. Autophagy is really the most powerful thing about dry fasting. It's much stronger. It will speed up this recycling, this cleansing. We need it. Doing an annual dry fast is truly what I propose, what I do myself. It's not just saying one must do it oneself. It's really doing it yourself. It's really important. It's a responsibility. You create your own metabolic water. There's no such thing as dehydration. That's fantasy, they say. They say you're dehydrated. You've got over 50 testimonials from our cures. Look at the channel. All the people who have gone through cures, even beginners who have never skipped a meal, are able to do 5 days of dry fasting. Don't tell us that dry fasting is dangerous, that it dehydrates you. It's just a load of rubbish. Certainly, we do experience a minor level of dehydration, yet it is still within acceptable limits. Metabolic water is consistently available. The body is 80% water, so we have enough water to last a few days without any problems. Metabolic water is created, so there are no worries. So this combustion, heavy metals and toxins are released, they will be removed. The body becomes a recycling factory, and that's what dry fasting is all about, getting into the condition of a recycling factory that will clean, discharging waste, whether physical or emotional, and which will enable us to refresh and refocus. Mental clarity, stable energy, which will come from behind. Your complexion will improve. You'll cleanse your skin. You'll improve. If there is an infection, it will be treated. Any chronic disorder, if dry fasting is sufficiently long enough and can even be repeated 2, 3, or 4 months later, if you are following up pathological conditions, dry fasting can provide answers to most of today's health problems. But it has to be well. We're not going to name names, but there are fasting centers. That's not the case. You can eat and drink in that environment. You really need to know your destination. Then look at where you're going, that it's serious, and look at the testimonies of people, and look at the testimonials of people who have been to these centers, whether it holds up or not. That's the first criterion to look at. It's all the testimonials that people give. They give you an indication. Dry fasting is a ritual. We have a lot of people who come every year to do their regeneration and reprogramming ritual. We have a lot of people who arrive who feel the need as a calling. It's also something I've added to my life that I know I need. Taking a week off each year is good for me. It helps us reset and lifts my mood. It's a real release, both physically and mentally. We clear out what has piled up. We kickstart the organs, the liver, kidneys, skin, lungs, and intestines involved in detoxification. The excretory organs. We rebalance the nervous system. We had people for sleep, a good dry fast, well followed, well resumed with psycho-emotional support. Sleep problems are often caused by people somatizing stories, and all that has to be reprogrammed. That's why coaching is holistic with emotional coaches. You're going to talk about your problems. You're going to put them down in the group. We're on a new dimension in therapeutic fasting. I don't think anyone in Switzerland does therapeutic fasting. I don't think it exists. I'm not sure about France. You put your internal biology back in order. It's a ritual of rebirth. One creates their bank of stem cells. We create our annual stem cell bank, which will provide us with natural stem cells. 40,000 stem cell injections, which are rather toxic because they are external stem cells, exogenous to you, and will not bring you any benefits. Your own stem cells, on the other hand, provide a real benefit. These are pluripotent stem cells, which will regenerate all parts of the body. This is the advantage of dry fasting. You treat the whole body. There are laws of priority. It will treat the most important things first. Powerful tool. It's not magic. One shouldn't believe that dry fasting will cure everything just like that. With a snap of the fingers, there's some reflection to be done. There's a discussion to be had with the therapist accompanying you about how you're going to get back on your feet. It's not a cure that's going to heal everything, but you're going to have a certain understanding, some highlights. It's not a cure that's going to cure everything, but you're going to have some understanding, some insights into your physical state. During the dry fast, the recovery, the post-dry fast, there's a lot of information that's going to come in. A lot of insights, ideas, and new things will come into place in your life. You will be able to adapt to the rhythm at which you need to continue, or if you just need an annual dry fast. There's no miracle. You can't give people things in advance. You need to do 5 days, 6 days to cure yourself of your illness. It's your own healing power that will provide the answers. We try to combine dry fasting with an art of a way of life, a logic. When you come out of fasting, there are good habits, good lifestyle habits to put in place. In particular, a diet that is specific to you, the most suitable, the least complicated for you. We look at different elements. I give elements in the cures. What kind of diet to have, how to manage your stress and your emotions. When you go home, change your paradigm, change your beliefs, get rid of your fears, your problems. Try to sleep better, introduce sleep phases, go to bed earlier than before. Breathing, physical activity, when you put all these things together, you get a result. Contact with nature, social links. When you put all this in place, you have a very powerful effect on very good health science, a targeted intake of micronutrients. That's important. Nutrition that's specific to you. These pillars of health support you throughout the year. You play your game, you detoxify, you regenerate. You're good for a certain number of months with a real gain that you have achieved with the treatment, like an oil change for a car. It's a global health approach. Taking control of your health, you are the actor in your own recovery. You are a key player in managing your own health, and this is the perspective that all health practitioners should adopt. You are an active participant, and it is important for you to take responsibility. You have to invest. You must invest time, money, and energy in your health. If you don't do it, it's not someone else who will do it for you. So become your own inner doctor. It's the key. We have intelligence. We have an inner intelligence, a sixth sense. We have the ability to heal ourselves. We never ask for it. Fasting is really a phenomenon. As animals hibernate in nature, emperor penguins in Antarctica show this, and bears hibernate for 3 to 4 months. When an animal is injured, it doesn't have a water fountain, it doesn't have a juice extractor, it has nothing, it leaves nature to heal itself. It's a law of life, it's an ontological law. So trust in these processes. You have the capacity to heal yourself. Fasting is the ultimate weapon of self-healing, stimulating your own resources. We put a slight stress on the system, waiting for it to repair itself and adapt after resting. We wait for the corrective responses. Dry fasting will bring, it's not just a detox, it's a process via the stem cells and growth hormones of real repair, of real regeneration. The stem cells, even though they are sick, will be activated for up to 3 weeks after the dry fast. This is crucial during this period. It is crucial during this period to maintain a healthy lifestyle and a correct diet. Have been tested, as we know, for about 3 weeks to 1 month. You don't go on a dry fast in 2 days. It takes place over 1 month. I've put forward some ideas. After that, it's up to you to do the work. Tissues renew themselves, tired organs repair and regenerate. After several cures of dry fasting, we've shown that it can have an effect on pathologies, but it has to be well managed. You need to be with someone because I don't know how to treat myself. I require help from others. I need outside help. I need outside advice. You can't see yourself. It's always good to have outside advice. Dry fasting is a new production of immune cells. A reset is taking place within the nervous system's framework. 80% of immunity is the intestine. All regenerates: liver, pancreas, heart, skin. They regain a potential for rejuvenation, so we are in the field of anti-aging medicine. These cures should be well known in all anti-aging centers. Nobody does that. You pay 50,000 euros for a week. They give you juices, they give you yoga, they take you out to the lake to walk. They charge you 50,000 euros for a week. The anti-aging result is poor. I doubt you have one. Result, our cures are donated. It's voluntary work compared to all that. The body never makes mistakes. It eliminates everything that is old and rebuilds itself. He's the skinny young man. Being young and thin is more than just physical. It's about rediscovering yourself. It's a liberation from emotional memories, as the ancients used to say. When the body is silent, the soul speaks. It's about getting in touch with your inner self, with yourself, with its depth, its intellect, its mind, its soul, its spirit. It's a self-isolation, a link to a group. It's real introspection. It's working inside your heart. It's opening up your mind. The young dry guy. It's a special time to connect, to reconnect with your life. Realign yourself, find yourself. The young dry one becomes an inner initiation. It is a process of transforming one's own beliefs into new ways of seeing things, always through the king, becoming a better version of yourself. We're always asking questions of the universe. If I've got this, what can I do to get better? We establish challenges for ourselves and grow. That's the essence of the young Essek. The young Essek will drive you to your boundaries, motivating you to seek change. When you come out of a cure, you can't remain passive. You want to start again, to move forward with your projects. That's how the young lean one is. It moves forward. It pushes ahead to new thoughts, to fixing what is wrong. It's an initiatory phenomenon, a return to simplicity, to gratitude, to the very essence of yourself and life. That's what dry youth is about. Why do it every year? As I said, it's a service you do for yourself, like servicing your car. Your car. Fasting is honoring your body. It's a form of self-respect. It's taking a break with yourself, body to mind. It's about going somewhere. If you're on your own, you're on your own. If you're in a group, everything is easier. You have the community aspect, the sharing. You really have a good holiday. When you're in a group where you have friends for life, we have regulars who come every year. They get together at the same time. It's become a ritual. A ritual. You keep your body clean, your organs clean. You stimulate cell regeneration. You do autophagy. And we really have this notion of prevention. I'm investing in my health so I can age well. Consistently doing intermittent fasting is a means of investing in your health for your future life. It's medicine without drugs, without dependence. With discipline and awareness, since it requires discipline after the dry fast to avoid mistakes, to say to yourself, now I'm looking after things, I'm paying attention to certain details. Dry fasting gets easier with more practice. We see the first young dry ones, people are arriving, it can be a suffering for some. For trained individuals, it's much easier. The more you do, the easier it gets. Your body is cleaner and it has to get rid of less waste and toxins, which is logical. It's the best gift you can give yourself, so go for it. Health is something you maintain, learn, and invest in yourself. It means searching, doing research, looking at what's out there. Make up your own mind. Never believe everything you hear on the news. There's everything and its opposite. Look at what you think is right. Always be critical when you hear theories. It's always simplicity and common sense that's very good. Anything too complicated should be avoided. When you don't understand something, that's not where you should go. You should always go back to the simplest things. Natural health with fasting and conscious eating, movement, good stress management. These are ontological laws. C, it's an art of living, a way of life. Everything is balance. When you see too many extremes, it's never good. Run away from what's too extremist. That's why we don't push dry fasts into terrible suffering anymore. There are people who do that. We don't do that. We now try to have a very safe dry fast. Of course, things will happen. That's the goal, but we won't delve into things that are too hard for people. We're trying to do everything we can to that it happens, that the inner work is done, that the eliminations take place, but without encountering too much suffering, too many difficulties. That's why we've set up beginners cures for next year for people who want to take their first step. You'll have this cure in August for beginners. Between 2 and 5 days, with a small refeeding, it is an introduction to dry fasting. Come and experiment, come and see how we work, what we do in the cures. It can be an approach for people who don't want to take on something too long. We'll have that. An annual dry fast accompanied by a healthy lifestyle is a good way to maintain your health. You just need to give yourself time for silence, for a break. Prevention is the best medicine. Your doctor is not going to tell you this. In fact, I have never heard a physician suggest that prevention is a good course of action. Natural prevention doesn't exist. I've never encountered it in any form. Therapeutic fasting, the way it's proposed, is really preventive medicine. You are doing this cleaning, this reset, this recycling, this awareness of emotions. You contact them, release them, liberate them, and you have the structure that will help you. So it's an inner journey, it's a rebirth. It's true that these cures are nice. We have great groups. I must say I'm extremely happy with the cures we have. I have to say that I'm extremely happy with the cures we've had this year. For me and the helpers, we had wonderful experiences with the people who come to the healing retreats. They come back really transformed, and that's very, very gratifying to have these rebirths. You really see a phenomenon of celebration of the living, because I know that's what it is. It's contacting its living side. I'm able to do this self-cleansing, to stimulate my own healing forces. Therapeutic initiatory process, known since the dawn of time. And it's just a matter of letting nature do its work. Only nature can heal you. That was my final message. I wish you a good evening. See you next time for a new video. Bye bye.